don't think I know anything about green infrastructure.
Is that like environmental infrastructure? Okay then.
I would think green infrastructure would be like going green.
Greenways, more walking accessible places.
Is it like the buildings where they don't they try to be more environmental friendly?
My name is Kelly Hill, and I work for the Georgia Coastal Management Program, which is housed at Georgia's Department of Natural Resources here at the Coastal Resources Division in Brunswick. Well, green infrastructure can be defined in many ways, but in the context of coastal flooding, I like to think of it as any practice that utilizes or mimics a landscape's natural ability to slow down, infiltrate, and filter water. So this can be on a large watershed scale base where communities protect natural features such as floodplains, wetlands, forested areas, or even sand dunes, down to a community or site-specific scale with practices such as bioretention, bioswales, permeable pavement, or rainwater harvesting. All of these practices utilize natural features to provide flood protection through storing and infiltrating rainwater into the landscape rather than allowing it to run off into our coastal streams. It also provides for cleaner water by intercepting and filtering out pollutants as well.
My name is Hunter Key. I live in coastal Georgia in McIntosh County. I've lived here about 15 to 16 years. I think it was Matthew where it rained all season leading up to that. So we were already really, really wet by the time Matthew hits. The storm came, it was up to the house. The road here was about shin deep. It extended all the way to the tree behind us. It didn't really dry out until about the front doorstep. As we move forward, I have to anticipate there's going to be bigger and worse storms. And the priority is always to get my family out. And then the second is to protect my house.
Here in coastal Georgia, we're very vulnerable to coastal flooding from different sources. So our ocean-facing communities can see flooding from high tide events and also from storm surge with larger events such as hurricanes. Intense rainfall events can also compound this by causing inland flooding with stormwater runoff and riverine flooding, which can overwhelm our drainage infrastructure and cause flooding both in coastal areas as well as in inland communities as well. Stormwater runoff is caused when rainfall hits an impermeable or hard surface that doesn't let water fall through. So your rooftops, your parking lots, your driveways. And stormwater runoff is becoming one of the largest sources for water pollution in our coastal water bodies because as that water hits those surfaces and runs along, it picks up all the pollutants along the way. And a lot of that water enters coastal stormwater drains or drainage ditches along your roadsides. And what a lot of people don't realize is that water isn't treated. And so that enters our coastal water bodies untreated, bringing along all of those pollutants along the way. And so for our coastal communities, they're feeling the impacts from these flooding events, as well as impacts from damages to their natural habitats and coastal water quality. And so one way that we can help mitigate these impacts is through practices called green infrastructure practices. Bioswales and bioretention areas are both great examples of green infrastructure practices that can be used in coastal communities. They are both engineered practices that are either a strip or an area that is dug out and allows for water to run off an impervious surface such as a parking lot or a rooftop area, enters the system and infiltrates down into the soils that are there. They're usually planted with some native grasses, which help uptake water and remove some of the water from the system through evapotranspiration into the sky. And those plants are also really useful in removing pollutants that come from that runoff from that parking lot area. Permeable pavement includes things such as interlocking pavers or materials such as porous concrete. And they are both different types of materials that you can put down on roads or parking lot surfaces that are built in a certain way that allow for spaces for water to flow through and provide room underneath for the water to infiltrate into the ground rather than running off of the surface. They can add a lot of aesthetics to the community and also be used in areas where you have high land costs where you don't want to set aside land for other green infrastructure practices, but use your parking lot area instead. Coastal Georgia experiences a tremendous amount of rainfall every year, and harvesting that rainwater is a great resource for coastal communities. You can harvest it through something small like a rain barrel all the way up to a large several thousand gallon capacity cistern. Using this water, you can reuse it for things like washing down trailers and boats if you lived in a salty environment. You can use it to wash down vehicles, and most commonly you can use it for outdoor irrigation and save some of the drinking water source for other uses. The most important thing when choosing a green infrastructure practice for your site is making sure that it is the best fit with your site constraints. The most important thing is knowing that if you have the proper depth to your water table, the right soil type, the right slopes, so that you're putting something in that's going to last for the long term with minimal maintenance. If you're interested in learning more about any of these types of green infrastructure practices, or maybe seeing what's already constructed in an area near you, you can go to our website and look at the map online and see what types of practices are located in your coastal community and go take a look for yourself.